Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. Luffy is already the sun god, but there's still something we haven't fully understood. The awakening of the Hito no Mi model Nika is seen by many as the peak of Luffy's power, like he's already reached his ultimate form. But maybe the true potential of that fruit hasn't even been revealed yet, and that's where things start to get interesting. When Imu first appeared, he was portrayed as a mysterious shadow, but now he's doing things that can't be explained by just haki or technology. He moves through places like he's teleporting, appears on glowing symbols on the ground, and no one said it's a devil fruit when Oda shows this kind of ability coming from ancient and powerful beings like the God Knights and Imu, and still doesn't call it a devil fruit. Maybe the answer lies elsewhere. Magic. That's when we need to remember Elbaf. When the mural about the history of the world was shown, divided into 3 great eras, one key detail stood out. The ancient people could use something called the Mother Flame, a mysterious energy the gods didn't want humanity to control. That flame seems like a primal source, a link between magic and spirituality, something beyond haki and maybe even inaccessible through devil fruits. And right in the middle of all that, the name Nika appears, the god who came to answer the cries of an oppressed people. So Luffy is the reincarnation or heir to that mythical role. But if his fruit only makes his body rubbery and brings joy, how does that match with the idea that Nika was the only one capable of fighting the gods? Haki alone doesn't explain it. Maybe, and this is just a theory, the true power of the sun god involves more than just haki and physical strength. Maybe it involves magic, and not just any magic. Ancient, nearly lost magic that's now returning as the world collapses. Chapter 10:69. Already dropped some important clues. When Vegapunk says that devil fruits represent people's dreams, he explains that each fruit is born from a desire, and that desire eventually becomes reality through willpower. But the most important part is when he says devil fruits defy the laws of nature and logic. That's something that goes beyond science. It touches the boundary between reality and the supernatural. And if Luffy's fruit is the only one classified as a mythical Zoan that carries a god's name, that already sets it apart. Nobody calls Kaido's fruit Dragon God or Marco's Phoenix God, but Luffy's is directly titled Hito no Mi model Nika. Not just a legendary creature, a deity, and a deity without magic. That doesn't add up. In the Egghead arc, we've seen Luffy use Gear 5 freely, and it's clear his body works like a living cartoon. He interacts with the world in absurd ways, turning the ground into rubber, stretching beams of light like they're physical objects, reacting to attacks in ways that seem to bend physics itself. But the craziest part, Gear 5's effects spread to other people. Their eyes spin, hair flies, bodies move, as if they're part of the same cartoon logic. This goes way beyond haki. It starts to look more like reality manipulation or some kind of energy that alters the nature of things. And that's where the real question starts. What if this is just the surface of what the sun god can do? In chapter 1044, when the Gorosei explained that Luffy's fruit is the most ridiculous and dangerous in the world, they say its true power is giving the user the ability to fight however they want, with the most freedom possible. And in One Piece, freedom is the key word. But to fight freely, control your own form, and affect the world around you, that sounds a lot like a kind of reality-bending magic, something ancient people might have feared because it made someone impossible to control. Maybe that's why the fruit was erased from the official records, because what it does isn't just physical, it's almost metaphysical. When we look back at the Elbaf mural in Chapter 11:10, we see that the Mother Flame was once used by ancient civilizations, but was later banned by the gods. And here's the juicy part. What if that flame is actually the source of the sun god's magic? Not haki, which comes from pure will, and not a regular devil fruit, but something older. A primordial energy that only someone carrying Nika's legacy could access. And now that Luffy has awakened his fruit and started using Gear 5, maybe he's on the path to unlocking that next power. But there's one big detail. Imu and the God Knights are using something very similar. They appear out of nowhere, step through circles drawn on the ground, and move like they're teleporting or crossing dimensions. No one calls it haki, and it doesn't look like a devil fruit. It looks like something else. What if it's the same Mother Flame energy, but corrupted? If Imu is the same ancient king who ruled the original world and survived until now, maybe he learned to control that energy and use it as pure dark magic. Maybe that's exactly what he's trying to stop. to keep Luffy from awakening the pure, free, and powerful version of the Mother Flame, the one that represents the sun itself. In chapter 1085, when Cobra speaks to Imu, it's suggested that the name Nefertari D. Lily is tied to the D clan and the secrets of the Void Century. That directly connects royalty, the D lineage, and Joy Boy's role in history. So here's the theory. What if the D is actually a symbol of a connection to the Mother Flame? What if that's the mark that lets someone access the world's true magic? And what if Luffy, as a D bearer of the Sun God fruit and heir to Joy Boy's dream, is the only living person capable of reactivating that pure magic? And why haven't we seen this before? Because he wasn't ready yet. When he first used Gear 5, he barely knew what was happening. But now, with everything going down in Egghead, the world falling apart, Imu making moves, and the Gorosei stepping in, maybe the world itself is pushing Luffy to awaken this new stage. And this stage wouldn't be Gear 6. It wouldn't be another physical transformation. It would be the mastery of magic, the true magic of the sun. Something only Nika can use. Oda has been dropping hints for a while now. The drums of liberation, for example, don't fit into any known system. They're not haki, not a devil fruit ability, not technology. It's a sound-based energy that triggers Luffy's transformation. Maybe it's a spell, a type of magical chant. What if the drum beat is the way to summon that magic? What if it's the equivalent of an ancient incantation that calls forth the power of the sun? That would make total sense when we remember that in the legend of Nika, he always appeared with drums playing, freeing enslaved people wherever he went. Maybe sound is the key. And there's more. In chapter 1090, when Saturn shows up and Luffy goes into high alert, the aura around the Gorosei starts to distort the space around them. That's magic. Let's not pretend it isn't. And if they have access to that kind of power, then Luffy is going to need something beyond even the Conqueror's haki. He'll need to awaken the solar energy, the same energy once used by the Moon People, the Half Moon Tribe, and Joy Boy. That would also explain why Imu is so afraid of Joy Boy's return, because he knows that if this magic is awakened by someone with a pure heart, he loses control over everything. And this is where Luffy comes in, because Luffy, unlike any other character in the story, has never used his power to dominate anyone. He's the complete opposite of Imu. He wants everyone to have freedom, for every island to live how it wants. He is the symbol of the sun, a being that warms others, that shines for everyone and asks for nothing in return. That's why he's the only one who can awaken this magic without becoming corrupted. Maybe that's the real reason the fruit chose him. So maybe Luffy's next step isn't just a new gear or a higher bounty. Maybe it's the awakening of the true power of the sun god, pure ancient magic, connected to the Mother Flame, a primal energy that Imu thought he had erased from the world. But that survived in the laughter of a child, in the dream of freedom, and in the sound of drums. And when that magic finally awakens for real, that's when the world is going to tremble. In the end, what we're seeing in One Piece might not just be a journey for treasure or increasingly wild haki battles. We're witnessing the rebirth of something far older, a force that predates even the devil fruits and carries the weight of forgotten ages. The magic of the sun, the Mother Flame, the drums of liberation, all of these point to a power that isn't measured in physical strength, but in freedom, dreams, and pure will. Luffy isn't just the protagonist of the story. He is the heir to an ancient promise, the bearer of a laughter that never dies, even in the face of gods. If Imu represents fear, control, and stagnation, then Luffy represents the opposite: movement, change, and light. And when that light finally connects with the true magic sleeping inside him, the kind that links the lost past to the dreamed future, it won't just be the world government that falls. It will be the very system of power that holds this world together, because the sun doesn't ask for permission to rise, it simply shines. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.